I made a game in Unity and then forced AI to remake the same game. And it went about as well as could be expected, to be honest. 2 years ago, I created this simple game with the intention to make a tutorial. But judging from my upload history, that definitely didn't happen. So let's put it to the test and see who makes a better game. Me or AI? And just a quick spoiler, AI did not go well. Quick ground rules. AI is the driver. I cannot write code. AI's goal is to make the same game. Bugs must be resolved by the AI. Same goal, same engine. Let's see how AI compares. First prompt, I explained the game concept and asked AI to create it. And here's how that went. So let's just copy in what it told us to do and see what happens. After a bunch of copy and paste, I've now implemented AI's initial game. I immediately see multiple flaws. It didn't tell me to assign any of the objects or save any prefabs, but staying true to the challenge, let's test the game. Okay, so immediately the ball has fallen through the map. Oh dear. Okay, and there are a bunch of errors as well. This is so not gonna work. Let's tackle the errors first, and then we can look at the flaw next. Alright, 2 simple fixes, let's implement them. Cool, so running the game now, I can see the error has disappeared, and we can see the obstacles spawning. Obviously we're still falling through the floor, so that'll be the next thing to address. Awesome, it's given us the idea to create a floor, which is exactly what we want. Let's follow this and hopefully we'll have an initial game now. So we now have a floor, the coins are placed better, and it looks like we have a playable version. This is starting to look pretty good. Okay, right, I spoke too soon. In all fairness, after that disaster, it has given us a pretty good few steps to take. It's given us a placeholder for the death logic, but that's okay, as we can implement that in the next prompt, assuming this all goes well. So I expected this would happen, but it's technically working. However, it's just not working, to be honest. If we try and go through any colour which isn't red, it will not work. I expected this would happen, but this is because the colours are not exact. Red is a very easy colour to make, it's just one channel. But the other colours use all RGB channels combined. This means that our colours aren't matching exactly what Unity's colours are. Whilst I know how to fix this, I can't. AI's got to do it, so let's see how this goes. Unfortunately, I've got to be as vague as possible because I can't give AI the answer. Honestly, the response is pretty good, it's just not the right fix. I'm not going to bother implementing this as it is way off target. My prompt was vague, so it's understandable, but without my help here, I think we are just going to go in circles. I'm going to redo this prompt, giving it a little bit of insight just to nudge it slightly. Immediately we have a better set of actions. Implementing these has meant that we can now actually play the game, but there is one slight issue. It seems the yellow value is off, so let's look at fixing that. To avoid wasting a prompt, I've also asked it to implement a proper death mechanism. So after implementing that and testing it, we can now go through yellow as expected. The player also dies and the game restarts. There is still one issue though. We can still fall through the floor even though we tried fixing that earlier. It did recommend an explosion on death, so let's implement that, and let's also fix the issue with the floor again. Implementing the particle system was interesting. There was a lot of things I would do differently. Obviously AI doesn't have the exact context, so it's made out of circles and things like that, but all in all, it's okay, so let's give it a test. When the ball falls off screen, it now dies correctly, and we can see the particle system on the left. But let's give that a proper test in the actual scene. I can't play after we die. Okay, that's going to need fixing. But we can now see the pretty bad, let's face it, particle system working, so that's good. Let's start to implement some post-processing to make the game look better, as we've only got 2 prompts after this. We can now play after we die, but honestly, the post-processing didn't do anything, and I don't think we're going to get much out of it, so I'm not going to waste any more prompts on that. It's a bit of a shame, because that means it's not going to look as good, but hopefully with some extra obstacles, the game might be better? I don't know. I don't think. Anyway, let's add some obstacles. So honestly, this is where the entire project just started to collapse. It gave us some pretty good obstacle ideas. For example, I'm currently implementing a round object with 4 corners, similar to what I had in my game. But it just doesn't know how to do it, and it's completely wrong. It wants me to squish the circle, put it into 4 corners, and quote-unquote make a circle. But that would just make a square with weird sides. Anyway, so then I started implementing an element which would be a series of consecutive colours moving from left to right. Firstly, it told me to put them on each other vertically, which made no sense, but you can see I stayed true to it, I did it. Obviously, that did not work. So I think we need to go back with a new prompt and tell the AI off. So here's the final product. It wanted me to create a diamond shape, but the way it wanted me to make the diamond shape was to make the square, but instead of rotating it by 90, rotating it by -90. So it made the same shape. So the only obstacle we've actually got, other than the rotating square, is the one moving from left to right. All other obstacle attempts failed, so I've not even bothered showing them because they were just ridiculous. But here is AI's final game, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not great, but let's compare them. Overall, AI managed to replicate the core functionality, but it definitely lacked polish. As we progressed, it started to make more and more errors and lose sight of the original task. As a basic prototype creator, it is kinda brilliant. With my input, I would have been able to make the same game in so much less time, but there's just so many flaws. If you're coming into development without any knowledge of code, AI will not do a good job. For example, in this project alone, there were so many key errors. For one, it forgot to add a floor. 2, it told me not to use triggers, and then later told me to use triggers when I told it we can't actually go through the objects. The death then caused the game to freeze because it forgot to resume the state when the game restarted. The post-processing stuff just didn't work at all, because again, AI doesn't really have a concept of what looks. And finally, probably the biggest flaw is it just couldn't create the obstacles. Even with some direction from myself, it still just kept hallucinating answers, and it just was not good. If you didn't have basic knowledge of Unity and sprite renderers, etc., you wouldn't be able to have made any obstacles and you would have hit a dead end. So overall, AI is not good on its own, but used as an assistance to make prototypes, etc., it's actually quite good. If you want any of the code, please check out the description. The AI code and the code that I wrote is all there, and the AI code is split into each prompt should you want to view the differences between each one yourself. Subscribe for more content like this, devlogs and new videos coming soon, and comment down below if you've got any suggestions or ideas.